Michelangelo died at age 88, Titian around age 87, Claude Monet got 86 and Picasso even made it to age 91. On the flip side, Raphael and Vincent van Gogh died already at age 37, Theodore Géricault at age 32, and Marie Bashkirtseff only became 24 years old. It makes you wonder what kind of beautiful artworks we could have admired if these artists had lived a little bit longer. And just imagine if Michelangelo would have died at age 37 like Raphael, we would never had his fresco of the Last Judgment. And Claude Monet would never have painted his water lilies. In this video, I selected 10 amazing artists who died before their 40s. I would love to hear in the comments below if you agree with my list or which artists you think are missing. To go in chronological order, I start with the Italian painter Masaccio, born in 1401 and he died at age 26. Nevertheless, he left behind quite a number of innovative works as he was among the first to start painting his objects with a higher degree of realism, and he properly used linear perspective to make his scenes appear three-dimensional. His art would mark the beginning of the Renaissance, and many famous artists would build upon his artistic innovations. The Venetian artist Giorgione is quite mysterious. It is not exactly known when he was born, and it is estimated that he died sometime between 31 and 37 years old. But he spent his time well, completely changing the course of Venetian art by adding emotion and beautiful colors to his work. As an example, his works did not necessarily have to tell an elaborate story, they could just create a mood, like he did in his famous work The Tempest. The art of Giorgione would inspire the next generation of world-famous Venetian artists like Titian, Tintoretto and Veronese. 3 artists are strongly associated with the High Renaissance. The aforementioned Michelangelo would work until his late 80s. Leonardo da Vinci, who died at age 67, and Raphael, whose life tragically ended at age 37. It's one of the obvious examples for the question, what if he would have lived a little bit longer? As his works were still improving as he got older. The Transfiguration is his last work, and many consider this to be his best one, even though it's hard to argue with the brilliance of some of his earlier works. Caravaggio lived a very tumultuous life, being involved in many street brawls, murdering someone and just getting in trouble all the time. But few doubt that one of the founders of the Baroque art style has produced many spectacular works and has influenced generations of artists after him. He would die in 1610 at age 38 under suspicious circumstances, with theories ranging from him dying from the flu, lead poisoning or murder. If you want to learn more about his life, you may want to check out a recent video I made about his life and work. Elisabetta Sirani was born in 1638 in Bologna, a relatively progressive Italian city where female artists were taken more seriously than in the rest of the country. She was trained by her father, but her work was quickly becoming more popular than that of her father. At age 16, she already took over the workshop of her father as he had become incapacitated, and she was very productive and successful in painting dramatic and beautifully colored historical and biblical works. Unfortunately, she would die already at age 27 under uncertain circumstances. The leading theories about her death are that she was poisoned or died from stress. Jean-Antoine Watteau struggled all his life with his weak health, but that did not stop him from being a revolutionary artist, reinventing the Baroque style by applying its drama and forcefulness to happier scenes. His paintings are now classified as the beginning of the Rococo period. His works were ahead of his time, and he did not get much praise from the public. Later that century, artists like François Boucher and Jean-Honoré Fragonard became very popular by building on the innovative style of Watteau, who died in 1721 at age 36. The raft of the Medusa was painted by the 27-year-old Theodore Géricault. It would make him into the leader of the Romantic art movement. And if he could paint this true story full of drama, you would expect many other incredible works. Unfortunately, he would die 4 years later after some years suffering from various diseases. He was a master in painting horses and dramatic historical scenes, and at the end of his life, he also created various portraits of insane people. Vincent van Gogh only started practicing his artistic skills in his late 20s, and a decade later he would be dead at age 37. Van Gogh suffered from various mental issues, but he had accepted some of them and decided that his purpose in this world was to create art. He worked feverishly, constantly experimenting with his artistic ideas and style. Of all the artists discussed here, no one created that many masterpieces in such a short time, as almost all of his best-known works were painted during the last 2 years of his life. Perhaps the least known artist on this list, and also the one who died youngest, is the Russian artist Marie Bashkirtseff. She would die at age 25 from tuberculosis, and she desperately wanted to leave a mark in this world. She was incredibly frustrated that some of her male colleagues received awards for very mediocre works, and that her art was largely ignored because she was a woman. She saw the writing on the wall as she wrote in her diary, "If I do not die young, I hope to live as a great artist. But if I die young, I intend to have my journal, which cannot fail to be interesting, published." I will end this list with the neo-impressionist artist Georges Seurat, who died in 1891 from an unknown illness. I could have easily selected some other artists from that time, like Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec or Amedeo Modigliani, or even Jean-Michel Basquiat. And I'm curious to hear which artists you think are missing from this list. Anyway, back to Seurat, who took 3 years to paint his masterpiece A Sunday Afternoon at La Grande Jatte. It consists of millions of individual dots of paint, carefully chosen based on color theory, and these kinds of works by Seurat would have had a big influence on the development of modern and abstract art in the 20th century. Well, this concludes the list of artists that died too young. Of course, many people are missing from this list, either because I did not select them, or they were not given enough time on this earth to make a name for themselves. Anyway, I hope you liked this overview, and if so, please support the channel by hitting the thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.